my fellow Americans? Are we reaping our harvest of greed? Have we built our house on sinking sand? Why are we being ugly Americans?
Good morning, this is CJ Holmes, founder of Homeowners for Justice and your host for today's live stream show. And we're talking about a quick tyranny update. Got to keep our fingers on the pulse, but building the future. Oh my goodness, I had such a fabulous meeting yesterday with activists in Sonoma County for public banking. I was absolutely shocked. There were 15 people there at the meeting. They were shocked too. So I only knew one person at that meeting. Now I know 13 other people, and they're excellent, and they were in the same boat. They only knew one. So this is the connection that we can make with just the few that we know. They can bring who they know, and when you get together, you got a group. So this is truly one of the focus points of today, and I want to bring you up to speed with what's going on every day. I mean, truly, there's never a slow news day. And want to remind you that the chat blog on the greattransition.org website, I believe it's active. It's supposed to be. I'm looking at it. So if you write a question, hopefully you'll be able to get a question to me. We're still in the beta stages of this, so please use it. Let's try to start an interactive dialogue. And I know that I'm doing most of the speaking today, so sometimes it might be hard to read the question, but I'll do my best. Before we continue, so building the future is about public banks. There's some activism issues I want to bring, and then some things that some of our sheriffs are starting to do, which is super cool. And truly, I have now several points how you can help this effort, what I've put together, get out to the public, how you can start using that for your needs in your community, because that's the whole point. Everybody needs to be helping in their own community, because truly, as we have these little blooms and little patches of grass growing around the country, as it grows, eventually the country will be green. And I mean, as in a new paradigm for the people. I'm going to be on the radio tonight with Sue Hildebrand. She's got a show called The Point Is. It's kzfr.org if you want to follow it on live streaming on the internet from 6 to 7 p.m. And we're going to be talking about foreclosures, the update of foreclosures, the new economy, how the financial instability is really hurting our future. So these are very viable topics for today, and those will be her listeners. So I just wanted to let you know that I've been invited to chat with her today on that show. And so let's jump right into it. Did you know that the U.S. military blocks access to otherwise accessible websites to the soldiers? I didn't know that. But now the military is keeping their guys in the dark. They've blocked access to the WikiLeaks. They've blocked access now to the Guardian website. And this is all over the world. I didn't know that. So if I don't know it, I'm assuming you may have known it. Some of you probably knew. But I think that's basically outrageous. That our soldiers are now some kind of a subset of liberty. That doesn't seem right. Oh yes, and of course, top experts have warned for 50 years that mass surveillance leads to tyranny. Duh. But now I believe people are waking up to it more. They're seeing the effects. It's one thing when you don't really feel it personally. It's another thing to actually start to feel it personally, to start to see these stories, start to see this outrage. And of course, if you look at the article, I'm not going to take the time on it today, but you can read the article. That's why the links are in the comments for your further research and information to help guide that and make it easy for you. And the fact is, the Nazis would have thought this was fabulous to have this virtually unlimited data on every person. They could frame anybody they wanted. They could blackmail anybody they wanted. It just gives them incredible power. And this is the problem. That is why we have to stop it. Now, here are some pictures that are from Egypt, and I just wanted to show them to you because we've not really talked about what's going on in Egypt or foreign policy per se, because we're really focused on tyranny in the homeland and foreclosures, which is one of the facets, one of the sides, the faces of tyranny. Truly, it's a face of tyranny. This is why we've been trying to fight and have people keep their home. But here's the pictures. I wanted to show them in case that way they're logged in the live stream, in case they're deleted from the net. And this is evidently an Egyptian holding up from Tahrir Square to the U.S. media and the Muslim Brotherhood. And they are very upset with Obama because their perception is that Obama is in cahoots with the Muslim Brotherhood. And so they are very upset. They are blaming that connection for killing the people there. And they're saying that Egypt is not the Muslim Brotherhood. Here's another one. I'm not going to read them. You can read them. And here's some big posters that they've got up that Obama supports terrorism. This is the perception from outside the country. And now I have to agree with it. They got it right. And of course, they're saying you'll never see these on the mainstream media. And by the way, today I pored over every mainstream media site I could find for all the breaking news, all the top stories in the US and the world. And it was amazing how deafeningly silent. There were no articles that I could find on the bond market collapsing, the shaking of the financial system, the gold markets, the conspiracy on the currency foreign exchange, nothing on LIBOR, nothing on bank fraud, nothing. It's just the silence is deafening. And it just continues to convince me that we're on the right track, what we're seeing is true, and we need to keep our fight up. Now, of course, I mentioned yesterday, I think it was Michael Savage, was actually saying about FEMA and the Russian officials. So here's another article so that we can read it. That last week, this was written July 1st, so that was Monday. Last week, officials with the Russian Emergency Situations Ministry, whatever that is, and some top dogs with U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency got together to make plans to exchange experts. Now Russian assets could possibly start showing up to provide and observe security at mass events in the U.S. So this is, I'm speechless. It's like, how do we, what do we say? What do we do? It's like, oh my God. So like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, this FEMA, we need to call these people on the carpet. We need to make a huge stink with our elected officials. And I'm going to be talking more about how you can help all of this country. I'm telling you, what we do is going to be the foundation that others, everyone in the country can pile on to find out the information quickly and easily on any and every topic, so they can be up to speed right away, and so that they, all of us, everybody, can actually not have to hunt to find what are who's in charge of FEMA again, and what's the contact information. We're going to have that information for them. That's our goal. That's my goal right now. We're going to build a building, and this building's foundation is being able to easily and accurately put your finger on, be able to find anything and everything any activist in the planet really needs to use. We're focusing on the U.S. right now because I do believe that the U.S. is one of the last bastions. We're going to be the hardest country to take down. We have the seeds planted here called the Federal Reserve, and Eric Holder, the Department of Justice, who's just blowing justice away. but we've got the people. And we've got thinking, rational people that are dedicated to their patriots for freedom, and sheriffs too. This is the core that can change the trajectory of the planet. We really do have that power. We need to grasp it and we need to use it. Now, I wanted to bring this to you because I do believe this really is correct. It's a phony news, psyop, danger, outweighs government spying. Government spying is passive. Psyop is an opportunity cost. And for those of you that don't really understand what I mean by opportunity cost, that means it's the cost of an opportunity that is not taken. So if you have two choices in front of you, and one is to do this and the other is to do that, if you do that, that's the opportunity cost of this. So what would this really do? And so people, as they go through their lives and face choices, they try to make the best choices they can. That's what we call analyzing for a good result. But what is happening like this, because the news media is in the clutches of the globalist elites, the banksters, Rothschilds, pick a name, they are not just being quiet. It's not just the silence, but they are spewing out phony news. And that is far more dangerous because we call that, bottom line, we call it brainwashing. They're going to brainwash and they're going to divert attention. So that's what we call sort of smoke and mirrors. It's a magician's trick. So while they're getting you to look over here at something that isn't really important, they're doing some real serious changes over here. So the phony news psyop danger. This is a psychology opportunity. This is how they're going to how they have been, and will continue to manipulate public perception. The one thing we can do is to poke holes in these phony news things, help our family, friends, and neighbors understand. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. How can they say this equals that when they don't have anything to do with each other? So they're using a lot of mind tricks to try to get this country, the sheeple, into the corral. They're trying to funnel us into the corral. And the more we fight back and poke and expose these psyop phony news opportunities, the better. And you can go down and read the article, but I just wanted to point out one thing. It's not even really in the article, but it is a quote right here. It says, spy data is processed for the NSA by Israeli companies along with, Booz Allen Hamilton, where did we hear that? Snowden thing. And guess what? They're telling us, thank you for the research, it's a subsidiary of the Bush family's Carlyle Group, a sinister organization clearly more powerful than the U.S. government. Gee, what a shock. And I challenge you, go to the Wikipedia and look up Carlyle Group. I already have. I forgot to get it for today. You can look that up. And under there, read down, look at the history, and it's the Carlyle Group that was in similar investments along with Osama bin Laden's family. And they were a player. So these little glints of exposure, it's like they can't hide everything. And people that are writing this don't even know what they're telling us. They don't understand that, well, maybe they do, that this is exposing who's behind the tyranny. So I wanted to point that out too. Moving on here now, we want to talk about quickly housing, the banks, more forgery. I've got some really fabulous DMV signature for you. Thank you, Jed. He's getting us these Department of Motor Vehicles official signatures of many of these people that have actually signed recorded documents. So I'm going to show you that today. And I am hoping for the long weekend to actually get caught up and upload these so that people can actually use them by clicking the links. I'm a little behind, I apologize. But I wanted to mention, here's a nice article. I basically agree with what they're saying. The survey highlights the changing role for investors, talks about how the prices have gone up, investors are backing out. They're calling it the wild card of interest rates. Other articles that seem to be oblivious that interest rates make any difference, which I think it just demonstrates the insanity of the person writing the article, or the hidden agenda. They're going to write it, they're going to say this kind of stuff, and a lot of people that don't understand any better, they're going to buy right into it. And that is sort of the outrageous thing, is to start to recognize the psyops, the brainwashing when you see it. And that's something that you can take. You can take these articles that say that, any article you read and it says, oh, interest rate increasing isn't going to affect the market, and you can share that with everybody you know and say, what? That's insane. Of course it's going to. In fact, this article points out about how it's already chopped refinances. And there's varying percentages. It's difficult to find, but I've heard anywhere from 16% to 38%. I mean, there's the fact of the matter is, we can just combine that with something that I showed a couple of weeks ago about how these certain mortgage companies had let go all of their loan staff for refinancing. It's over, and truly that is the point. So that does affect the market. And one-on-one, it's little bits, but when you have massive shifts like this of interest rates, it affects everybody. Then you're going to start seeing certain markets suffering more, because there is no such thing as a national market. It's all local. And some local markets are very strong, and some local markets are very weak. So whatever interest rate rising is a damage, and so it will have a varying impact. And of course, most of these articles look nationally, so it'll never be exactly right for your local market. So the local markets that have most investors, like it says here, investors accounted for 20.2% of home purchases in May. It was 1/3. Well, that was cash. That's not all investors, because there's a lot of family groups using cash for occupancy of family members. There's a lot of foreign money coming in as cash. They may not be called investors, but nevertheless, even though it was just 20%, that's still very, very high. And the fact is, that's cash, and that will be affecting the purchase, the buyer's side of the supply and demand teeter-totter. And so if demand goes down, supply is left hanging, then prices will fall. That is exactly how prices are adjusted. And so nevertheless, they talk significantly and more accurately about what you can expect, and that the future is unknown. Now, I really wanted to give you this link, because this is specifically about more customer abuse secrets, and this specifically highlights the selling of the the servicing and loan modification rights to subsidiaries. They don't even go in here who owns these subsidiaries. So it's truly, you have two corporations. You own both. And so you say, well, this corporation is subject to nasty regulations and requirements, and I have to really staff up to do it. So I got an idea. I'll just sell all those nasty loan servicing rights over to this corporation that I own, and then they're not subject. Because this one's a bank and this one isn't a bank. And this one's onshore and this one's offshore. But you own them both. So that's exactly the game they're playing. That's exactly what I was saying last August, September, because I knew that these changes were going to come into place, I think October 1st, some date last year. The date slips my mind right now, but nevertheless, I could see, I was talking about it, they were going to sell their servicing rights to offshore dragons, their wholly owned subsidiaries, and they're going to escape the rules. And that's exactly what's happening. So non-bank servicers like NationStar and Ocwen, and I've been informed, I have not checked it myself, that both of those are owned by B of A. I think that's right. I know that Ocwen is a wholly owned subsidiary of Bank of America. I'm not positive about NationStar, but I think so. And so they've been buying up the servicing rights. The left hand has been selling it to the right hand so that the left hand can say, oh, I'm done, no problema. And the right hand goes, hey, not me. I never did that stuff, so you can't come after me. And that is how they use our rules and corporations and literally poke their fingers in the eyes of our regulating agencies, even if our agencies were actually on the side of the owners. This is just an incredible end run, and it's what we've come to expect. This is just a symptom of the fraud. And so then there's a class action lawsuit filing against Green Tree Servicing. There's links all over the place, packets of documents. Help yourself, take a look at it. And the answer is, okay, now I know about it. What are we going to do about it? How do we fix this? And that is the question on everybody's mind. How do I stop my foreclosure? How do I get my house? What rules can I do? What would work for me? And this is where I really want to continue to focus. So I want to shift into some suspicious documents because it's all about the documents. It's all about the assignments. It's all about the signatures. And in general, from New York to Florida to California, and I'm going to collect this in a spot where everybody can find these rulings because I've shown them over the last week or so. In New York, they stopped a foreclosure because the bank did not have what we term as standing. They could not prove they had the right to foreclose because of a defective assignment, and the assignment is defective because it came from the bank or MERS or some servicer like that to the trustee of the mortgage-backed security about 6-8 years late, and that doesn't fly. And so the pleadings in that lawsuit, that attorney, it was able to actually get the correct information in front of the judge so the judge could understand it and could say, well, yeah, you're right. That can't be right. And if the banks don't have, which they don't, any assignment of beneficial rights into the mortgage-backed security trust within the time frame of that trust when it was open for collecting money up to 30 or 90 days afterwards. So basically, for our purposes, if the loan was done in 2005 and the assignment was done in 2010, way too late. Doesn't work. Void. Doesn't matter. And so that is called standing. They do not have standing to foreclose based on the securitization failure of the loans because they did not assign them into the mortgage-backed securities. And let me tell you again, they didn't do this for every securitized loan, every one of them, including all the 8 million that they've already foreclosed. So quickly on some signatures, this is the page on Homeowner for Justice still. This is the suspicious documents found right here, suspicious signatures. Go scroll down and here's the list of packets of suspicious signature documents. So I wanted to focus right now on Jane Moratana because this is the signature. These are what is right now on my website. You've got Jane here. You've got another document. There's a signature. That looked different. And then you've got this document where there's several different signatures on it. And then here is the Department of Motor Vehicles. This is a DMV. See, driver's license ID. This came from the DMV. It's a certified copy. And here is her signature right there. That's her signature. And so does that look anything like any of these? Nope. That proves forgery. That's proof. This is court level proof. And I'm going to encourage people, and I've asked some contacts that have been sending me some ideas and information. Basically, let's try to get a settlement, an agreement, something so that we can keep the house directly with the banks instead of trying to go through court. These are the kinds of documents that ought to help achieve that somehow. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then the fact of the matter is, we're going to start talking about the new paradigm, how we're building the new uh, our new financial structure, our new financial system, because really the one we've got is breaking. And we see the signs of the cracks everywhere. And so what I want to talk about are the fact of what the banks are doing, and then what Public Banking Institute has been doing, and show you, get those links into the comment section, and then what you and I can do together to really start building this and moving into actually implementing the changes. If, like I mentioned, I went to that meeting yesterday with public banking here in Sonoma County, and truly, we all felt the same way. Okay, look, I've been doing this for like a year. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. So how do we get it done? Let's make it happen. And that is where the people are at. So, of course, here's a little article, talks about how the Wall Street banks extract enormous fees from the paychecks of millions of workers, and what they're talking about is a fee for everything. If you want to, get money out of the machine, a fee. If you want this, it's a fee. You want that, it's a fee. And these fees add up. $10 here, $5 there, $25 here, and pretty quick. Particularly those folks that have less money coming in, it's a real hurtful scheme for them. And this would disappear, this would go away when you either, for example, right now, if those people would move their money to a local credit union, they don't have the fees. Most of the credit unions, at least the ones in my county and area, have virtually none of these fees. If they do, they're very low. And so I recommend that we continue to push to move the money, to escape these fees. And as we have public banking connecting with the credit unions, because a public bank is a wholesale institution. They do not deal directly with consumers. They're not going to take your checking account deposit. They're not going to compete that way. They're a backup for the local regional banks and the credit unions. They act like a mini Federal Reserve for the local community banks and credit unions. And that turns out to be extremely helpful and lucrative and beneficial to all of our smaller private institutions. They partner with the public bank. So for example, in North Dakota, where they have a state public bank, that they have 110 partners, private banks that are partnering with them. So that's what's really the power. It's an engine of bringing fairness, equality, and pulling in the interest that people are paying back into the public coffers. So like the North Dakota Bank, they do make profits. Those profits flow into the general fund of the state. They don't go to Wall Street. That's the point. So I wanted to bring up to your attention, here's the publicbankinginstitute.org website, and this is right here at this site. Here's the Public Banking Conference videos and interviews. So here's the interviews. That link will now be on the comment section, so you can go straight to it. And there's several interviews. They've got quite a few more. As Mark has time, he'll upload them. We're all swamped. We're all working hard to try to keep doing this, background manipulation of the data, downloading the videos and uploading them and linking them and getting them ready to show. Here is the page that has the videos, and these are the presentations that you can now watch on nicely done cameras. There's several of these are uploaded, and so you can take your pick and watch them. So thank you, Public Banking Institute. We know that they're basically a volunteer organization, but there are organizations that are starting to connect behind them with money, and it will work. This will happen. We will bring this together. It's just going to happen. Now, I wanted to share with you briefly here is the Great Transition, and it's the website. The chat, live stream Q&A chat is right here, where you can send me a question. I don't know if it works. I'm not getting any questions, so maybe it's not working, and if so, I apologize. We'll work on that over the weekend, try to figure that out. But and here's the famous quotes. And right now, I've got the blog discussion topics right on the home page. So literally, with these discussion topics, we are hitting pretty much everything of interest to the people right now. And that is one way we can get people together, because then when they're here, they can all go to the info page and see those shared, those spreadsheets of information spreadsheets. And remember, I talked about that. That's where the lawsuits can be listed, the campaigns can be put, the contacts can be done, and this is how you can help us. These are some of the things that I've just put together this morning, like 10 minutes before the show, so that how can you help this platform be spread out to the people, so that anyone can click into this spreadsheet and find out what they need for their area. So this is how you can help, because I cannot do it all, as you can tell. So already I've started to have volunteers, and I thank you so much, because this is really what it needs. I need researchers on topics. We, not me, but I mean, I need for this show, but we need this. The country is calling you. We need your help. What can you do? Pick one of these and volunteer. Let me know what it is. We need someone on every topic to sort of take that topic on, to become an expert in that topic, to share it with us live on the show, so that we can get it on the blog, we can get it on the website, so everybody that is going to find us in 3 months and is going to go, oh my goodness, on that topic, they can hit that blog, look at all of the postings, and be up to speed. That's the point. Because how do you bring people up to speed? Oh my goodness, we've been doing this for, a year. If you just talk to them, they wear out. We all wear out. You can't do it. So this is the platform that I believe that we can use to bring people up to speed when they find us, and to keep track of what is actually happening and the discussion in each one of these topics, because we have ideas and then we go, oh, that isn't going to work. Well, we need to know that. Others need to be able to be aware of that, so that they don't, search on that idea and then we've duplicated that effort. I'm begging you, if you're an expert on anything, please write a blog so that we can post it on any topic, any one of those topics. And if your topic isn't there, I can add a topic, I told you, in 60 seconds. So literally pick a topic, write a blog, send it to me, write an article. We will put it on the blog, we'll send it out. It'll go everywhere. You can have it go to all of your web connections, because this Great Transition blog already goes to all of my connections, Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and some other places. So I also am asking anyone that has some expertise in either pro se, QRW letters, listening to people and helping them decide how to move forward. I am inundated. I have way too many individual requests. I cannot handle them, and I'm not responding to them. And it breaks my heart, but I can't. I have to focus on what's best for the country right now. So if you can help, let me know, because I can forward these emails and these requests to you. Some of them are phone calls, some of them are emails. I have not even been able to call back dozens of people. So if you can help, if you're willing to listen and talk to these people, and they're from all over the country, please let me know. If you are willing to take charge of one of these information sheets that I just showed you, the campaign, the contacts, the lawsuits, the petitions, another sheet that you think we need that turns out to be really helpful and useful. I'm telling you, this is just the rough draft. This is just out of my head. So please take it as your own. This is your site that you can use and help build our nationwide effort. So if you can take charge of updating one of these sheets so that if anyone has information for it, they can send it to you, or they can send it to me and I'll forward it to you. That would be fabulous. If you would, one of the sheets is for, campaigns. It's the contacts, getting all of the information of our electeds, an email address, their name, what they do. We have a spreadsheet, and we can do thousands on these sheets, and like the contact sheet can have sub worksheets, and that's all available. People can just download it and have it to use, and then just copy columns and email. So it's what I'm doing is trying to bring the tools to the public that I use for myself, and has been able to help me multitask and be effective as I've been able to be. So we need the research help. That's sort of a combination of research and collection. We need to research these email addresses. We need to stick them in a spot where everybody can have them. Then we don't have to redo that effort. It's silly to have 150 of us looking for the same information. Let's stop that. Let's have some focused on that and some focused on this. And it occurs to me as I'm saying this that what I'll need is to have to keep track of who's doing what, so that we don't have duplicates, and I'll have to mull over how I'm going to do that. So if you're interested in any of this, just send me an email, and then I will have a list, and I will make sure that you're not duplicating the effort of someone else. Solicitation. I can't tell you how many times I will talk. I'll be at a foreclosure town hall. I'll be, on the interview at the public banking. At my interview, which is not yet uploaded, I was done walking out. The guys that were doing the streaming, the media guys, they stopped me and they said, "Oh, do you know so-and-so? Have you been on his show?" And I said, "No, I don't know him. No, I've not been on the show." And so then they say, "You should do that." And I said, "I'm completely swamped. Can you make that happen? Can you get me on that show?" And so, of course, the guy is looking at me like, see, everybody wants me to do it. I'm one person. I can't do it all. These people don't even know me. Even if I did get the email address, contact that person, call them, they don't know who I am. I need a warm introduction. And so this is the same with the speakers. So that's me on those shows. For speakers on this show, people will email me all the time. "Oh, get so-and-so. Oh, get so-and-so." How? They don't know me. So I do whatever I can. I fit it in. I get an email. I find their address. I send it to them. "Hey, I'm so-and-so, and somebody said that you would be on my show," and then it's a black hole. I send the email. They're swamped. They don't know who I am. They blow it off. So please, instead of telling me who to get them, go get them. Please take this on yourself. It's a small thing. It's a huge thing to me. It's not huge for one, but it's huge for dozens. And now I've got dozens of people suggesting this, and I just cannot do it. I can't. But the show loves it. The show wants it. You want it. The country wants it. We need it. So I'm begging you, if you know of somebody who is an expert in any one of those blog fields, any one of these topics, any one of them, please contact them. Make arrangements. Tell me when they're free. I'll plug them into the show. And now I can just send them an invitation. They can click on it and be live on the show. That's how it will work. They will just click into it. They will join us live like Mary did yesterday. So we've got the foundation. We've got the format. Help me use it. Feedback. Please give me feedback, even if it's negative. I don't like negative feedback any more than anybody else does, but many times that's what it takes to get the changes we need, and I'm willing to take it. Particularly if a link is broken, any kind of a link that doesn't work, let me know, because chances are I can fix it. Sometimes I can't, because sometimes the links are offline, like the Alaska Harp was still offline last time I checked. But if it's just a broken link, or if it didn't show up right wherever it's located, like in the library for the live stream shows, just please send me a link. I will try to work on it. And then any ideas. Come on, this is the feeding ground. You guys, the ones of you that are watching us daily, you are the foundation of this effort. You are the ones whose ideas are going to make a change in this country. So please share the ideas. Maybe it'll go somewhere, maybe it won't, but no idea is going to get rejected, all right? We'll discuss it. Some of the ideas may be powerless, meaning, okay, you can spend your time on it, but I don't think there's no evidence that it's going to really achieve the results. And that is true, and I'm going to be really honest with you about my opinions, and you know that. The ideas that really work are those that have sticks, where we can checkmate the banks. You can't just ask them. You can't just say, oh, send this, send that. I mean, we do unqualified written requests, and they'll send us stuff, but it's not enough to back them into a corner to force them to give up the property or to settle with us. So I'm looking particularly for ideas with sharp points. I call them pitchfork ideas. I've got a pitchfork, and I'm going to stab you unless you give me the house. So that's what I'm looking for. How can we back the banks into a corner, like some of these lawsuits have, where the judges have now demanded discovery? Okay, the bank is going to submit to discovery, and you're going to have to bring all of this information into court and prove it's legitimate. And if any attorney worth his salt doesn't ask for the wire transfers and the money transfer in the transaction, remember, the paperwork can be defrauded and forged. It is all the time. That's what we're dealing with. But the money transfer cannot. And that's where I think we should really hone our sticks. And I would love to have anyone. In fact, I was just talking last night with a connection about Joe Escobar, and how he shared, I think it was Joe, that shared the money wire transfers. Maybe it wasn't Joe, and if it wasn't, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back and look at that, and we're going to get that person back on the show, because it's all about the money, the transfer of money. So when we say it's all about the money, it really does affect who has the wealth, who doesn't, the currency we use, and the transfer of the interest. Because if there isn't that money transfer, then we can use those laws to say, sorry, there's no interest. So I wanted to also touch base with, I wanted to give you some encouragement. It works, it does work. And this is an article about Portland, Oregon, and a city grassroots activist did the impossible and pushed back the politicians' austerity agenda. And of course the cities are going broke, and let's never forget that the public banking and the beneficial financing opportunities that we're talking about would stop the city from being so broke, because with the public financing availability, what I would call cheap credit, 0% or 1%, because the city could borrow the monies it needs to do the bonds, the infrastructure, the redevelopment. They could pay back the municipal bonds that are charging all this interest that's flowing out of the city into the investors' and banksters' pockets. They would, first off, not have to pay the interest nearly as much, and secondly, any interest they did pay would flow right back into the benefit of the community. So that's the opportunity cost of not having a public bank. Do you understand? The opportunity of a public bank and all the benefits that flow, which is, by the way, something that was discussed yesterday in the meeting. We need a bullet point benefit. We need something that's simple, that people can grasp. that it's like a no-brainer moment about this kind of financing, and we can do that under the radar. They won't even know that we're really doing this because they're all busy up here trying to control us. But as we shift our monies out of their credit system into the public credit system, so to speak, then there's more money left for the city and, for the lights and streets and all that stuff. What I really wanted to point out about it, because I think many times I'm preaching to the choir, and that's okay, I'm sorry. But what really worked in Portland, for starter, Mayor Hales and the city council's pursuit of austerity was met with a public outpouring of opposition at the public budget meetings. And the resistance accumulated on April 11 when over 400 protesting participants surprised the city council and overwhelmed their staff. Now, here's the key. Attending were the members of, ready? The Metropolitan Youth Commission, Labor's International Local 43, Portland Community College, Friends of Trees, Portland Safety Net, Sun Schools, East Side Action Plan, Elders in Action, AFSCME Local 189, and numerous others. They mentioned 9 organizations. Now let's look at what they were. Well, they were Ecology, Friends of Trees. They were the college, the schools. They were unions. They were seniors, elders. So let's reach out in your community. Here's the guide. Here's the group. I'll tell you one of the most surprising, I learned several surprising things in the meeting yesterday, the public banking meeting. One of them was that many of the people involved in Move to Amend were very positive about public banking. Who knew? So that told me, and we discussed it in the group, we need to connect with every activism, every group that's set up for the people, okay? Any group whose focus is on the benefit of the people are going to be the ideal candidates for our connections. That's what I wanted to bring to you about this article. And so, here, Jobs with Justice, the People's Budget Project, and Solidarity Against Austerity. And of course, those are main groups that were focused on the money and the cuts. They didn't want the cuts. But the fact is, look at all these others that showed up. They got them to show up. And this is the point. We can support everybody's individual work, but when it comes to boots on the ground, we can all fit in a couple of hours of activism and go to a meeting. We may not be able, we just simply can't push every agenda. I can't push Monsanto, March Against Monsanto, but I can show up for the march. I can't push Move to Amend because I'm working on fraudulent foreclosures, but I can show up if they have a march, or if they are going to a council meeting, or whatever they are doing. I just don't know what they're doing. So this is why on the campaign page we need to find out what people are doing. Let's get everybody's agenda, their effort, on the campaign page, because it's sorted by city and county and state. So literally, I plan to have thousands. There should be at least thousands of actions, and we can have a worksheet for each state. I mean, we can grow this to support the data. But that's the vision. Because imagine, what if the groups in your area, even unbeknownst to you, because you don't know who they are, what if they found this and said, hey, I want my agenda there? Then you found that sheet, looked at it, were able to sort by your city and go, oh my goodness, well, I'm going to support that, I'm going to support this. And then they find your action in your fight. That's how we're going to connect and organize this country, I swear. And then welcome to the sheriffs. Oh my goodness, I believe, and I need research on this, help us, that the sheriffs in our counties could turn into the spearhead of freedom for the people. So here you've got, this happens to be in Colorado. I just got this yesterday. I haven't had time to contact him. Is anybody in El Dorado, California? Will anybody contact this sheriff for us? Get him on the air? These are the people we need to have on the show. And then we need to get this out. We'll blog, after the shows, we're going to blog this information so it'll go out into the web, and gradually people will start to watch this. Even if it's not live, they'll watch it archive. And this is how we're going to build the positive shifts of change and connection in our country. So here, this sheriff says he's revoked the authority of U.S. Forest Service officers to enforce state law within his county-wide jurisdiction. The new policy is set to kick in July 22. He said he made the decision. Are you listening? He made the decision after hearing numerous complaints from visitors to the El Dorado National Forest who reported being stopped by forestry officers and questioned about their activities on federal public lands. Complainants said the federal officers showed particular interest in whether they were carrying guns. They want to know what you're doing here, where you're going, do you have any firearms on board, said a park visitor who talked to the Sacramento Bee, CBS Sacramento. The sheriff said he takes seriously the style and manner of service we provide to citizens and visitors, and that the Forest Service, quote, after many attempts and given many opportunities, has failed to meet that standard. In other words, the feds are out of control. Gee, what a shock. So the Forest Service representative is set to meet with the sheriff this Wednesday in an attempt to resolve the standoff, but legal experts say the sheriff is within his rights to supersede the feds on determining whether they can enforce state law in his county. So here's the key. Did you hear that? The sheriff can supersede the feds on state law, not fed law, state law. Now, Utah, I saw this, and I can't even remember if I shared this on live stream, but Utah, I think it's Utah, like 60% of the lands are federally owned. And Utah's saying, wait a minute, we don't even get any tax revenues on that. That sucks. So I got an idea. Let's eminent domain back the federal lands. So the states, as they rise up against federal tyranny, this is an effort for the people. Let's mull this over. I'm placing ideas in your head, I hope, because in fact, I read a discussion, it might have been on Wikipedia, about eminent domain. It might have been there. Can't remember now where it was. But it was almost a laughable discussion about if the state eminent domains the federal lands back, is the Fed going to come and eminent domain that back? And then the state back and forth, back and forth? How is that going to work out? And what I believe the states must do to, remember, we're gonna squish him into a corner. This is called checkmate. This is a checkmate game, guys. This is not a walk in the park. This is not beg. This is not begging time. This is spear point tips, checkmating. This is where we're at. So let's imagine, what if the state passed a state law saying that once the state eminent domains the property, the federal government cannot eminent domain it back. And then the state eminent domains all federal lands. Bam. There aren't any federal parks anymore. And then the sheriff is in control. Now, I've heard a lot about the Sheriff Constitutional Convention and the citizens juries, grand juries under the sheriff. And I need an expert in that. I've already asked the people that have commented to me about that to get an expert, research it. I want to bring this to the people, but I can't do that without really knowing, one, is this actually legal? Is it really going to work? Where are we on that? And I'd really appreciate a sheriff, Let's get the sheriff, isn't his name Sheriff Mack? The one that did the Constitution sheriff. Let's get him on the show. Come on, guys, help. Okay, so here's how you can help. We're going to end the show with this, and we're going to have a long vacation. I'll see you on Monday. But this is how you can help. You can increase our togetherness and our power, because I'm telling you, every person, every organization, everyone that we connect with exponentially increases the connectivity, because every one of those peoples and agencies have all their reach. This is the web. This is the interconnectedness of the web, and we need to use that for our advantage while we still can. So if you've got a topic you can already share, write a blog. We'll post it. If you can help me respond to these requests, let me know. If you can actually take on a management and update, this would be not really interacting with people, just taking the information that's sent to you and plugging it into the sheet to keep it updated. And what I've done is I've got Google Sheets set up. They're private. I can share with the person who's going to update, but those are the links. So as soon as the sheet is updated, it's updated on the web. I'm super stoked about it. Collecting information, if you can just send this information and somebody else can update the contact sheet to get that information in the sheet, that would be super helpful. If you can solicit any one of you, think about who you could get on the show and when. So literally, when you ask somebody if they'll be on the show, ask them when. Set a date. Let's not spend time going back and forth. Oh yeah, they will. Or when. It's like, let's not play telephone tag. Nail it on the head. Say, if you can do this, when are you free? I'm going to get you on the show. Boom. Do that. We've got to stop dilly-dallying, and we've got to make every effort count. Again, feedback is appreciated and ideas are appreciated. And truly, today, to sort of give a light heart to our efforts, a lighter heart, I'm going to end with Bugger the Bankers. We are still going to bugger them, and we're going to checkmate them. And this is really not just beat back the banks. This is checkmating them and winning. Changing our paradigm for the people. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Father and mother before me. They taught me to fight for my civil rights. But it's always the same old story. The rich reign supreme while the poor can but dream. Under Labour or Liberal or Tory. And I say, bugger the bankers and politicians. Bugger the bureaucrats too. Bugger the buggers who make up the rules. And if you're one of them, bugger you. And if you're one of them, bugger you.
The system is bent and the money's all spent.
We're measured from every direction.
The workers get taxed while the wealthy relax.
With nary a moment's reflection. Where there's brass, there's muck. And they don't give an arse. There's a program against insurrection. And I say, bugger the bankers and politicians. Bugger the bureaucrats too. Bugger the buggers who make up the rules. And if you're one of them, bugger you. And if you're one of them, bugger you. Now all you good people with passion to vent, don't give up the struggle for justice. But I've done my time on the protesters' line, and these days I show my dissent by loitering